But tell me, like growing up, what were you a very artistic child?
I
Were
don't
you
know
the
what I
kind
was,
in drama?
Crystal.
Were you in
Should I tell
theater?
you the truth? I don't know what I was, but I was a lovely, lovely, lovely child.
So
Everybody
you were
would
a
know.
happy, happy child.
And very naughty, very, very naughty. I don't want to have children like myself. Maybe that's why God hasn't given me a child yet. But I have nephews and nieces who remind me that things can be hard as a parent.
So you're like,
This is me somehow. So, but like I was just a free spirit.
you're free spirit.
I never really used to care about the rules and regulations.
Okay.
I didn't want to live like that because growing up in a home where the parents were really strict religiously, and also back in West Africa. Now, this is the problem growing up in West Africa. I'll tell you. You don't live for yourself, Crystal, half the time. You live to please family and the name.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
My Ugandan friends laugh when I tell them, for example, I have friends who have had babies out of wedlock, and it's okay. The parents call them, oh, how is the grandchild? And it's not the same back home. You cannot do that. Because first of all, if your mother is a Christian, they have this Christian Mothers Union situation. So
Really?
the pregnancy is not about you, it's about the entire family. Your mother would be excommunicated from her guild meeting because she had participated in the past in judging people's children for not being very chaste.
Are you serious?
It's a whole situation, darling.
Wow.
Yes. So literally growing up in that background where everything is strict, and I think for a child who grew up in my house, I was like the worst. Because I would not listen for.
So were you always getting in trouble?
Yes, that's the definition of trouble. When you don't listen, you get beat half the time. You get, called out for things that you've done. Like, oh, why were you this? Why were you that? And like, my mom was really strict with her children because there was a time in our family life when my both parents separated.
Okay.
Yeah, because I said my dad is polygamous. He's everywhere. That was his thing. He was an amazing guy too. So, however, as a dad, he left us with my mom, and my mom became mom and dad. She became mom dad. She became everything for us. Backbone, shoulder to cry on, disciplinarian, our comedian. She was everything she could be for us. Yeah. So growing up, you will understand that she wasn't doing all the strictness literally because she wanted to be a mean mom. No, she was strict because she had a point to prove to society. Yeah, that she's not raising kids that would turn out some kind of way. She's not raising kids that would be of society, because if you're not, because at the time I was not born too long ago, but I'm not too old either. However, in the space of time, things have changed. Before now, every Nigerian child had to either be a banker or a doctor or an economist or one of those things that have a name, the East or the Tours or the Kaz, or the banker, the economist, the financial advisor.
All that pressure is
like
real.
It's there. It's there.
Very
You live with
strong.
it. It's on your forehead. You wake up every day with a reminder that you can't fail your family, especially if you love your mom. You cannot fail her because the world is going to talk or laugh at her. There are people who are looking at her every day and saying she will fail. The man has left. So literally, the burden falls back on you as a child to live a proper life.
Yeah.
And well, I was not trying to live a proper life. I was trying to live a life.
Trying to live your life.
I have siblings or older ones who are like the direct opposite of me. You tell them to sit here, Crystal, you find them here 7 years later seated. But you tell me to sit here, Crystal, I'm out of the door before you turn. Why am I seated? Anyways, what am I doing? You understand? So literally, there are situations for me growing up that were like, it was really strict, to be honest. It was really strict. There's a lot of don't do this, don't do this, don't do that. But listen, Crystal, I grew up happy because we never lacked food for one day.
Yeah.
We're not the richest kids ever. We were exposed, we went to good schools. We went to school in a car. If the car was not available, because mom was a medic, would go in the hospital ambulance. Well, it was one of those shady days because we had gone to school with like very rich kids and stuff. But like, we're happy, Crystal. Yeah. So growing up, I think I was the only misfit in the family, I guess, because looking at it, I think I was the only problem in that house. All my younger like, okay, my younger ones from my stepmoms are like really amazing kids as well. We love each other, we love them. And from my mom, I think I was just a sweet child, happy
You were a
in my
happy child,
space.
but you were
I
also in
was,
your own
yes, I
world.
wanted to do my own things. I wanted to, because I grew up with a mindset that I was also going to follow suit. Everybody became a lawyer or a doctor.
So that's what you saw for yourself.
That's what they wanted me to do, and that's what I grew up understanding, that I would be a doctor.
So what you're doing now, that never, at least back then, you never saw the
I
creative
saw
side
it
in
when
yourself.
okay, so in Uganda we call it senior 4, right? Your first stage in higher school.
Yes.
Okay, so high school is senior 1.
Yes, yes.
Okay, but
Senior one, then you do your O levels, which is the end of
okay, so
S4.
okay, let me try and break it down. In Nigeria, we have, when you go to secondary school, you have junior secondary 1, junior secondary 2, junior secondary 3, and you write an exam that promotes you to senior secondary.
Okay, I
Yes.
understand.
Yeah. So when you get to senior secondary, you now choose a career path. Now, by choosing a career path, you guys call it, we call it here subject combinations. But there, we just tell you you're either a science student, you do a combination of science courses, either you're a social science student, which means you do a combination of both sciences and arts courses. For example, I never liked maths. Crystal, I failed maths every time of my life. But I never failed to count my money. I'm sorry. But I failed math every time. Every damn time I fail math. So I'm passing the biology because it's interesting. I pass biology. I pass integrated science. I pass all these other, but I fail maths because I don't understand why I need to calculate X and Y. I don't understand why alphabets are in numbers. And for me, it just doesn't work. And then math is a basic for sciences.
Yes.
And I said to myself, I failed. It is enough signal that I can do this. Oh my God. My mom was not having it. She was not happy at all. She did not find it funny that I was not going to do the sciences anyways.
So what did you decide
So
to do?
I had to go to a guidance counselor in school,
Okay.
and I told her, listen, this is how I feel. I feel like I'm under a lot of pressure and I'm about to break down, and I'm not happy with what choices my folks are making for me. But I feel like I can be everything else except a doctor. I'm not ready for it. I'm growing. I'm now a teenager because we go to school really early back home, really, really early. I mean, I was out of high school and going to university at 16. Yes.
Wow.
So literally, I said to myself, this is not happening for me. Let me speak to this woman. And so I talked to the guidance counselor. I put out my hat, and she wrote me a letter and told me to deliver it to my mom for inviting her to school to have a one-on-one.
Yeah.
And I thought I was going to die because this is me reporting my mom to somebody. So
Must have been terrifying.
yeah, it happened, and I said, okay, shit has hit the fan. Let's see how it goes. So this is what happens. My mom visits the school and has a talk with the woman. And I already told the woman, you know what? I could actually just be a lawyer and follow every other person's. Because as a lawyer, I could do many other things. And what. So she said, okay, so you're going to go to art class? And I'm like, I'm not going to art class. I love literature. I will talk. I will write. I will tell stories. I'll find the metaphors, the similes, the personifications in all these things. But I am not going to art class. I'm not trying to draw because I can't draw even to save my life. So Mom had that meeting and came out and looked at me and apologized that she was really sorry that she didn't understand what I was going through, and probably she was trying to live her dreams through me and stuff and through the rest of us and
bless her.
all that. She said, oh, I told her, no, it's not about you. I think I just failed and I don't want to deal with another failure. Because that's another thing you grow up with living in the society where I grew up, the fear of failure. You don't want to fail. Not because you're perfect, but because failure is expensive, Crystal. So I grew up not wanting to, at least not to fail myself. I could fail anybody else. You understand? But myself, I I don't want to fail myself. I want to be happy with everything I do, no matter how hard or how hectic it is, somehow pull through and smile later, because it happens. There's always that silver lining somewhere. So literally the desire not to fail was one of those things. And I later did social sciences. I had my combinations. I still did maths though, because it was a compulsory anyways.
Okay.
But this time, not under pressure. I didn't see all those things that saddened me, the NaC3s, the sodiums, the what, the things that the chemistry students went through. And I look at them every day and I'm like, you don't even have nice hair today. What's happening? This was it for me. So literally, I did the things that made me happy. I excelled. I did amazing in my subject choices. I was proud of myself, because another thing is my mom would always come to school to take award for us, like all her kids. We were always doing well in school. So literally they'll clap for us. And the times when we didn't do well, she'll ask us what went wrong. You understand? That child who got the first position, what happened to them? What car brought them to school? What did they eat? She will ask you this question. What do they bring? Is it Ribena? She buys it. You will drink this Ribena today. You have no right to fail in this house. I'm going through the most for all of you. You understand? I'm going through the most. And like, as a single mom at the time, I could understand, to be honest,
Where she was
because there are
coming
days
from.
when I wake up in the night and you see your mom thinking literally on the phone, because we had like a landline, and she'd be talking to somebody on phone and like, oh, I need to get them a placement in this school so that my children can come out really cool and stuff. And like there was one time I came downstairs to the kitchen. I think she didn't hear me because I was not wearing sandals. I was like tiptoeing, and I had the entire conversation, and it was literally about us. She wanting us to excel, and she said particularly myself, because she thinks I'm a nutcase. She thinks I don't focus. She thinks I'm passing exams by the grace. She's like, I don't understand that child. He never reads.
Oh my God.
Because I was not the child that you'll find on a table reading like the others who read like this. Crystal, I can't. I read on my bed, on my chest. That's why I guess I suffered a lot of chest pain in the later part of my life. Because this is my mode of reading. My legs up in the air, me like this, and I'm reading. I would cram, I would reprint a textbook for you in 5 minutes.
But that's what worked
This
for you.
worked for me. I passed all my courses, and like I passed beyond people who would have the whole night on a table and stuff. Girl, this was my way. And I understood if my mother was worried, because if I probably saw a child like that, I'll be worried too. Right now, it makes sense to me why she was worried, because every child who does not sit on a table to a parent is a joke.
They're running around playing and
Yeah.
they're not seeing that effort.
And like I had friends who would literally fall out with me at the end when the results come out, because they feel like I was joking half the time, and yet I passed more than them. You see,
Yes.
those situations. So literally, with education and the pressure from growing up, I was able to do my combinations of my courses that I chose and opted for, and I did well, Crystal. I did well. So parental expectations sometimes change, because people, anyways, these days it's different, because parents encourage you to do your ballet, to do your music courses, to do.
But do you know, if you had not spoken to that guidance counselor, if you had not expressed your fear and your feelings, it could have been very different.
I know, because
and that was, like you said, you were terrified,
I
but
was
it was
tired.
very brave.
Crystal, I was tired. I don't know. And that's why these days, like, I have a nephew who lives with me, for example, and if he doesn't want to go to school, I tell him sleep.
What?
People think I'm allowing a lot, but I'm like, sleep, because I go through the most to pay these fees, right? Like, why are we trying to force the child
But
if
you
he's
know,
not
we
in
are
the mood?
learning now that children learn differently.
Yes.
Very differently.
He's a brilliant child. For 3, he speaks better English than I could speak
He's
when I
only
was 3.
3.
Yes.
Oh, come on.
So
Yes.
if he doesn't want to go, I say it's okay, stay.
Mm.
And I think when I finally have my own kids, I would not let them suffer. By means suffer, it's not like education is suffering, but the mode through which you educate is also an issue. If the kids are not happy, if they're not able to express themselves, then it's one-sided. That's not education, that's imposition. At the end of the day, you're trying to impose knowledge on them that probably would still be useless in 2 years or 3. I mean, I know a lot of things that I did. For example, I went to university and I studied international relations and diplomatic studies with French as a minor. And that was my first degree. I did human resource as a master's, and I'm doing project planning again. And you see, but literally, I've not used any of those. Okay, my knowledge of French has been amazing because, I mean, my grandma is Togolese originally. So I first learned, the first language I spoke growing up was French.
Was French.
Up until like about 4, 5-ish years.
Okay.
And then I started speaking English. So, I mean, French is not new for me. But now the question is, with education, like you said, parents need to be allowing the kids, be inclusive, and like, are you okay with what you're doing? Do you think you're happy? You'd rather have a balanced, happy adult than an imposed doctor who probably drink his way out of every surgical process just because he's not happy, but he learned what he learned. And then at a point in Nigeria, for me and most of my cousins, all we wanted to do was get the degree and give the parents a certificate and walk away.
Yeah.
Because,
Like,
okay, for
I've done my
example,
part,
they
here
knew I
it
was going to
is.
study law. But first foundation class in law, I said to myself, I'm not doing this shit. We're wearing uniforms, white and black. Why are we here? I was out of that class the following day and I registered for international studies and diplomacy. My parents only found out at graduation.
Wow.
They were mad, but they were happy. They were expecting it. He's not normal. He's like that. He's not normal. He's the one. We expect everything. And you know, I was that child that they always expected a call on the landline, like, oh, he's said something to somebody, but they never got it.
So even though you were kind of doing things your own way, you would still get it
I
done.
was really peaceful. I was a peaceful person. I like chaos, but I was not part of it. I would love it. I love the entertainment that comes with it, but I was a peacemaker. Like I would make my parents talk. I would make my siblings forget that they ever had a fight. I am one person who, if you really have a problem with me, you would not hear it from me. I'll keep quiet. Because it could be me. Yeah? Maybe you were not having a good day. But most recently, I learned to speak.
It's important.
I learned to speak literally because sometimes people do things, just like, for example, when I say, ha ha ha, Crystal, you're so silly. This is not me insulting you. This is just what I'm used to hearing people say, or this is what I grew up hearing, like, this is
how do you express
But
yourself?
somebody else would take it some kind of way, like, oh, Renzi said I'm silly. Did I really act shady? Did I say something stupid? Yet you had not said anything stupid. Now, so I realized that, and I learned to speak